My 36M wife, 34F, fell deep into conspiracy theories and online hate groups. Is there any saving our marriage? I, 36ME, have been married to my wife, 34F, for 6 years. We have a 4-year-old daughter, and I really don't want to divorce, but I'm starting to feel like I've run out of options. When we first met, my wife was a kind, brilliant, and outgoing person. Over the past few years, she's changed in ways that really scare me. She's become very involved in online conspiracy spaces and online hate groups, and now spends hours every day scrolling and arguing online. It's like she's living in a different reality. She hasn't held a stable job in about 3 years. She'll take on part-time work but ends up quitting or getting fired after a few months. Meanwhile, I've become the sole provider and have also taken on most of the parenting. Our daughter loves her mum, but my wife often seems distracted or disengaged, and it breaks my heart to see that. Another issue is that she has become more racist over time. It started as an obsessive dislike of a certain celebrity, but it's turned into outright racist comments, particularly toward women of colour. She's lost several friendships because of it, and even her family has started to distance themselves. They still check in on me and our daughter, but they've made it clear they don't know how to reach her anymore. I've begged her to try therapy. She actually did for a few months once, and for a little while, I saw glimpses of the person she used to be. But she quit, and everything went back to the way it was. I'm emotionally exhausted and worried about the environment our daughter is growing up in. I don't want her picking up these beliefs or thinking this level of disconnection is normal. That said, I'm also terrified of what divorce might do to her. I always believed in trying everything before walking away, and I don't want to feel like I gave up too soon. That's why I'm thinking about asking my wife to go to couples therapy. Maybe she'd be more open to it since it won't be just her. My question is, how do I even bring this up? Would it be wrong to tell her that I'm considering divorce if she refuses? I don't want it to sound like a threat. I just want her to understand how serious things have gotten. I love her and want to believe there's still a way forward, but I can't keep doing this by myself. If anyone has been in a similar situation with a partner who's fallen deep into conspiracies or become resistant to therapy, how did you approach it? I really want to try everything I can before making such a painful decision. Some of OOP's comments. Unimpressed 46. Threatening divorce to force her into couples counselling is not the appropriate route. For couples counselling to work, both people need to be open and willing to do the work. Approach couples counselling as a team effort. It's something that could help you both better communicate and work together. Couples counselling doesn't solve relationship issues, but it can give you the tools to tackle the issues together. The rabbit hole of conspiracies is difficult to pull someone out of. It's almost like an addiction, and you can't force someone out of addiction if they don't want to give it up. Consider counselling for yourself as well. It may help you navigate this situation. OP, I feel like I don't even know how to talk to her anymore. She rants at me about things, but I haven't had a good conversation with her for the longest time. I appreciate what you said about getting counselling for myself. I've honestly been so overwhelmed. Ride Jack Ride. You face what I did with my brother. Unfortunately, the main problem with all things conspiratorial is the cult members are programmed to reject absolutely everything that refutes their positions. Counselling will only work if she realises she has an issue, and you can't really use it as a lever because there is just no way she will respond to the stick without automatically concluding that you are part of the cabal, deep state, libtard, them, that is out to get her and her cult members. It did not end remotely well with my brother. We are permanently estranged. The Q is strong with the Q-nuts. OOP, I was afraid to hear this. She isn't exactly QAnon. She used to be liberal, but she is now strongly anti-vax and thinking of homeschooling our daughter because the education system is grooming kids or whatever. Anti-government. Anti-Meghan Markle. It's a long list. Sorry about your brother. Alkanicha Amai. Your daughter will do far better being raised in a co-parenting arrangement than being raised in a loveless home. Staying together for her is not the right choice. You need to want to stay together because that's what is best for you and your wife. And it seems like your wife isn't good for you anymore. OOP, one of the things that really scares me about the idea of divorce is what would happen with a custody arrangement. I may not have any control over what our daughter is exposed to during her time with her mum. I'm also scared about her general attentiveness. My wife can get so wrapped up in her phone or online discussions that she tunes everything else out. If our daughter needed her or got hurt, I'm not confident she'd notice right away. Chrome light bulb. If possible, I'd try filming the moments you mentioned where your daughter is specifically trying to interact, but she's clearly not interested as she's on her phone, etc., and play them back to her. Oh, OP, thank you for the filming suggestion. OP adds, She used to be a very outgoing person. She had a large, supportive circle of family and friends, was involved in our community, and then COVID hit, and she started spending so much time online and just never went back to being her old self, no matter how hard I tried, or her family or friends tried to reach her. Danny Tully. As soon as you mentioned getting obsessed with a celebrity and now being against women of colour, I pegged this as a Meghan Markle thing. I'm sorry she has found her dopamine hits in hatred. Best of luck to you and your daughter. OOP. Surprisingly, her obsession with Meghan Markle has been just as detrimental as her anti-vax or anti-education beliefs. It's been one of her longest-running online fixations and, in many ways, acted as a gateway for more extreme behaviours. What started as constant criticism slowly bled into racist attitudes in real life. Editor's note: OOP has some comments from a while ago talking about his wife's fixation and hatred of Meghan Markle and how it is worrying him. Romihanzo. And you're perfectly okay having your children growing up to be racist too. You need to divorce her, no matter what happens to her. She's going to turn your children into hateful little bigots if they hear the pathetic vitriol their mother is spewing. Opit Fai. I'm not okay with my daughter growing up to be racist or mean to other women. This isn't who my wife used to be, and I kept hoping something like therapy could help her find her way back. I've been doing everything I can to protect my daughter from this, but people keep acting like divorce is some magic fix. If we split, there's a good chance we'll have shared custody, and I won't be there to protect my daughter the way I can now. Why not on 312? Talk to a lawyer. Usually they offer a free consultation. This will give you the information you need to make a decision. I worried for nothing, but do protect your daughter. Go for full custody and let her testify on her behalf. OOP. We'll definitely start looking into a lawyer and getting full custody. QAnon casualty post me 1 month later. Editor's note. I took out the parts of the post that were repeating parts of the first post or part of the comments. At first she started with anti-vax talking points. I had our family doctor talk with her, and she seemed to have gotten over it, but she still brings up vaccines being poison and causing autism occasionally. Around this time, she also began to have an obsessive dislike of a certain celebrity, which slowly morphed into outright racism, particularly towards women of colour. She's lost several friendships because of it, and her family began to distance themselves. They still check in on me and our daughter, but they've made it clear they don't know how to reach her anymore. She has started talking about homeschooling our daughter because the education system is grooming kids and the government is brainwashing children. I've told her our daughter will be going to a normal school and having normal social interactions with kids her age. My wife hasn't held a stable job in about 3 years. She'll take on part-time work but ends up quitting or getting fired after a few months. I've become the sole provider and have also taken on most of the parenting. Our daughter loves her mum, but my wife often seems distracted or disengaged, and it breaks my heart to see that. I've tried to get her off the internet by suggesting we spend more time as a couple and family. For the latest attempt, I got her out of the house to go trick-or-treating. She barely bothered to smile or show enthusiasm for our daughter, but for 3 days after I was treated to her saying nasty things about her celebrity obsession, going trick-or-treating with her own kids. She goes on long rants about these things to me so often that I can't recall the last time I had an actual conversation with her. I've been leaning more towards getting a divorce recently, but I am scared that if we have a shared custody arrangement, I wouldn't be able to control what my daughter is exposed to. I'm also terrified that my wife is so distracted when she is online that she may not notice right away if my daughter got hurt or needed her. She once forgot to give her lunch because she was on her phone and yelled at her when she started crying. I've been told this sub has seen a few success stories in getting people back to reality and would appreciate any advice from persons who have been in similar situations. Is my marriage even salvageable anymore? Some of UP's comments. To a longer comment. I had some luck with getting our doctor to talk to her about her anti-vax views. I was hopeful that getting a teacher or someone she trusts within the education profession would convince her that homeschooling would not be best for our daughter, and she isn't equipped to homeschool a kid. But who can I get to convince her not to be racist or not to obsess about Meghan Markle online? Are you and your wife divorced now? So Very Sleepy 81. Was her therapy coupled with antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication? When my mental illness was not being treated correctly, and it was being allowed to kind of just rampage, I was very into conspiracy theories. Once I was being treated correctly, that went away pretty quickly, because I was able to actually think in logical ways, rather than trying to desperately grasp for explanations for feeling like my world was out of control. OP. She did therapy when our daughter was around too. Obviously, the therapist didn't tell me anything directly, but my wife told me the therapist said she had anxiety but was not depressed. That it was normal for new parents to feel some level of anxiety. She did those sessions for a few months without medication, and there was improvement, which is part of why this is so frustrating. It showed me she can get better when she engages with help, but I can't get her to accept she has a problem and needs treatment anymore. Taking an internet break. I've tried to get her to take a break. I've even thought of cutting off the phone or internet before, but I want to be able to contact her in case there's an emergency with our daughter. How the Meghan hate started. I think it started for my wife because Harry and Meghan left the royal family around the time COVID lockdowns happened, and there were probably lots of tabloid stuff about them online. Her obsession with Meghan seemed harmless at first, but it turned into a pipeline for more racist beliefs. Update post. Almost 4 months from OG post. I'll try to keep this update short. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment and message me. Some of you helped me accept a reality I had been avoiding for a long time. My soon-to-be ex-wife was not going to get better, and I had to act to protect my daughter. I also want to specifically thank those who pointed me to the QAnon Casualties sub. Reading other family stories and seeing how similar the patterns were was incredibly validating. It helped me understand that this wasn't something I could love or wait my way out of. I took the advice of some commenters and started documenting my ex's neglect of our daughter, her racism and extreme beliefs, and reached out to a divorce lawyer. I checked on our joint bank accounts as advised and discovered that she had been withdrawing large sums of money from a joint account we opened early in our marriage for family vacations, etc., and that we had discussed using to eventually set up a college fund for our daughter when she was born. When I confronted her, she initially denied taking the money. When I demanded she show me where the money went, she went on a long rant about creating a better world. She admitted she had donated money to organisations like TPUSA, claiming they would create better schools and keep kids safe. She had also spent a significant amount on designer handbags, shoes and clothing that she had hidden from me. The craziest thing is, she was also being scammed by someone she met through some royal gossip subreddit who claimed to have hired a private investigator to expose Meghan Markle. Apparently, this person would send her negative articles about Meghan Markle and claim that the private investigator had discovered this information and sent it to the press, and my wife would send more money. She told me all of this as if it were completely reasonable and saw nothing wrong with it. I told her I was filing for divorce, and at first she thought I was joking, but then exploded at me and began throwing things while ranting about me breaking up the family. A glass cup she threw hit me in the head. I left the house bleeding and went to my neighbours, who called the police. She had trashed the kitchen by the time the police showed up, and they arrested her after I explained what happened. I applied for and was granted a domestic violence restraining order, along with temporary custody of my daughter. My wife currently has supervised visitation only. She is facing a misdemeanor criminal charge related to the domestic battery incident, which is being handled in criminal court, alongside the ongoing divorce proceedings. She is currently living with a former co-worker, and her family has reached out to express support for me and my daughter. I am in the middle of divorce proceedings, and my lawyer believes I have a strong case for sole custody. This isn't how I ever imagined things ending, but I'm grateful I listened to the advice here when I did. My priority now is my daughter's safety, stability, and emotional well-being. Thank you to everyone who helped push me to act. Some of OOP's comments. Ivan Nemoy. As awful as it sounds, her hitting you with that glass might be the best thing to ever happen in this case. A CDV verdict is usually a massive help to securing custody. Best of luck to you and your kiddo, and hopefully your ex may someday regain their sanity. Oop, my lawyer told me the same thing. Before we had discussed how family courts preferred joint custody arrangements, but we might have a chance if I could prove neglect. Her hitting me with the glass and acting unhinged in front of the police really increased those chances. I'm just glad my daughter wasn't around when all this happened. Therapy. I'll be going to therapy when the divorce is settled. I'm currently just focused on making sure my daughter is okay. Thank you for the concern. OP clarifies. She is facing a criminal case, which is separate from our divorce proceedings. I'm sorry if that was confusing.